Hi, I'm Tina Ann Middleton, author of the Forestville series. I'd like to welcome you today to the writing journey, where we inspire and encourage each other in the craft of writing. Today, I'll be talking about brain strain for authors. We'll be right back. Writing is a lot of work. It's fun, it's exciting, but it's a lot of work. I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels as if I am straining my brain during this creative process. Like the first thing, what to write. I'll get an idea, but I don't know how I want it to end. I don't know how I want to lay it out. What's the plot? Who are my characters? And I have to remember their names. I can't tell you how many times I've forgotten their names and had to go back and look. When I think about it, and I'm smart enough to do this, I'll do a list of the names. Sometimes I'm not smart enough to do that, but it's a good idea, especially if your memory is like mine has become. Do your list of names. And you might want to include just a little snippet about what they look like. I saw a cute little poem, and I may be paraphrasing a little bit here. It says something like, roses are red, violets are blue, John's eyes are hazel, but on page 13 you said they were blue. So make sure you can remember what your characters look like. You don't want to give them hazel eyes on one page and blue eyes on another. Or describe the heroine with long black hair that mysteriously turns into short blonde hair, and you didn't say anything about her going and getting her hair done. You have to remember details from previous books if you're doing a series. I've had to do that. I'm just about to publish my third novel. Let me specify that. My third novel in the Forestville series, and I've started on the fourth novel, and sometimes I can't remember something specific that I need if I'm going to use it in that fourth novel, and I'm referring back to a character from one of the others. Brain strain. Oh, then there's some of the other details, things like the cover. Now, my husband and I, the reason it took so long to release my third novel is we could not find the right picture for that cover. And I don't know about the rest of you, but for us, that was the hardest part with that book. It did tend to kind of drag out some. I'm not really sure why. Maybe it was part of that brain strain. But we couldn't figure out what we wanted it to have. This is the thing, if you independently publish, you're deciding on the cover. Okay, so what do I want it to have? Do I want to have people on there? How many people? Do I want a woman? Do I want a man? Do I want a child? Do I want a dog? What setting? Is it in town? Is it in a small town? Is it a big city? Are you in the woods? Are you in the mountains? Are you at the beach? There's so many different settings you can use. Then let's move to the front matter. That's all that stuff that you have to kind of get through before you get to the story. And the foreword. Okay, what do I want to say in my foreword? For a fiction book, do I want a table of contents? Do I need a table of contents? My books, The Mistaken Target, the Forestville series, each have a Bible verse in them. What Bible verse do I want to use? Snippet of the story. Okay, I have about 200 pages or more of story here. What part do I want to grab a little bit of to be an appetizer? To make the person, you know how you pick it up, right? And you're going to go in here and you look and it's like, oh, that looks interesting. Or, nah, I don't want to read that. So you want to make sure it's that first one. Hey, that looks interesting. Then there's the page that tells a little bit about the author and the legal information like copyright and credit for who did the editing and who did the cover and who wrote the, not wrote, who put the picture at the back of the book. That's all stuff that your brain has to figure out for your book. The back matter, that dear reader, you know, the part that you put in there to say, thank you for reading my book, and then you talk some more with them. Okay, what am I going to say that I didn't already say in the foreword? I don't want to repeat myself. Now, this one, I'm mostly talking to those who are independent publishers. Those of you that use conventional publishers, I imagine your publisher takes care of a lot of this for you. Things like the cover and the copyright and all that. They'll take care of that for you. Us independent publishers, we get the whole thing. That's our deal. But you have to choose. There are so many self-publishing, indie publishing platforms out there. Amazon, I think most people know Amazon, Kobo, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, Ingram Spark, and there's a host of others. I just listed some of the ones that are more well known. So we have to choose. Now, we chose Amazon because we're most familiar with Amazon, and it's done well for us. So when you use Amazon and you're getting ready to upload, there's this thing in there where they're going to let you put in 7 keyword phrases. This is really important because those keyword phrases are things that people will type in to search for your book. And so you want to put those in there so that when they type that in, they might not be searching for your book. They're searching for a book that fits that description, and you want your book to be the one they find. Brain strain. It's such an important tool, though, those keyword phrases. In fact, I just gave my husband about 15 of them to try out to see if it's going to work for Unintended Target, the 3rd novel in the Forceville series. Now, it is challenging to find those right phrases. You would think, oh, that's a piece of cake. No, not really. Because you want to use the ones that they're not being used by so many people that it puts you down at the bottom. But you don't want them to be so unique that nobody would ever think of using them anyway. Now, there is a tool that will help you with that. We have this tool. It's called Publisher Rocket. You know, I said I gave them to my husband to see if the phrases would work. Well, he's going to sit down and take those 15 phrases and put them in Publisher Rocket. Publisher Rocket is going to look at them and say, okay, these would have a good response. These nobody would ever find. These would have a good response, but everybody and his kid brother is using this phrase. So if you use that, your book is going to be way down here at the bottom. So Publisher Rocket helps you kind of find which phrases are going to be the best. Then you have to look at things like, okay, do I want to do it as ebook, print book, both of them, only one? You have to choose the price. Now, Amazon, and I imagine these other platforms too, they're not going to let you go below a certain price. And they're not going to let you go above a certain price. But that still leaves a lot of leeway there that you have to work with. You don't want to underprice yourself because people will look at it and go, well, if the author is pricing it so low, it must not be worth anything. Neither do you want to overprice it so that people would say, well, they got a high opinion of their book. Mine's not that high. I don't want it that badly. So again, you got to find that happy medium there. Enough that it shows you value this book, but not so much that it would be too much and they wouldn't be interested. Then there's some of the other practical stuff. You have to choose your book size. You have to decide on the paper color. Do you want white? Do you want cream? Are you going to have illustrations in the book? And if you do color illustrations, it could eat into the royalties. Because Amazon, what they do is they take the cost of the book, like the printing, and they pull it from your royalties. So sure, you're not paying for it up front, but you might not see much in the way of royalties. Now, I've got a number of friends that are like, well, I don't read per se, but I listen to audiobooks. And they've asked me to do audiobooks of my books. And I'm like, well, you see, unless you have a place where you can go and record the book yourself, and you have a good voice for recording, you're going to have to pay somebody to do that. And that comes out of the royalties. And it could really eat into those royalties. So that's something else that your brain has to figure out. Is it worth it? I mean, it is pretty popular, so you might decide, hey, it's worth it. Now, you know, I'm pretty sure I've only skimmed the surface of all the details involved with writing, with indie publishing. But even with what I call the brain strain, I have to admit, I love it. I love talking about my story before I even start writing it. Or while I'm writing it, I'll tell it to friends, family, the stranger in line behind me at Walmart. I love getting it written down, deciding on those details, big and little. I love when it's done, you know, and we've ordered it, and I hold it in my hands. And I'll confess to you, when I publish a book, and I know it's up on Amazon, I love to go to that page on Amazon and look and see it up there. It's part of seeing that your creative process has all come together. And that's why I'm going to keep on writing. I hope you will too. Have a great week.